Have you ever felt like you're just drifting through life and not getting any closer to your dreams? We've all been there, especially during New Year's resolutions. We promise to break bad habits and start good ones, but we end up back where we started. So, how do we become the person we want to be? It usually happens around New Year's. You imagine all the bad habits you're going to break free from, and all the good habits you will begin. This time it will be different, you say to yourself. This time I am going to do the things that I say I will. Only to end up back where you began shortly after and no closer to what you had envisaged. So the question is, how do you become the person you dream of becoming? How do you break free from bad habits and make the habits you desire easier and more automatic? Get pumped to improve your life with the first part of James Clear's Atomic Habits in this awesome video. Grab a cup of coffee or your favorite drink and let's have some fun. Welcome to the Rich Books channel, where we read books and share their benefits with you. If you're looking to level up your knowledge game without reading the whole book yourself, make sure to subscribe to our channel. What positive change do you want to make in your life? Maybe you want to eat healthier, learn a new language, or become a master clarinet player. But making these changes and sticking to them is easier said than done. It's like trying to catch a slippery fish. You need the right tools and strategies to succeed. You can't magically start eating more salad or reading more books just by wanting to. It takes more than just saying you'll do it to actually follow through. That's where habits come in. Together, we're going to discover that the key to making big changes in your life doesn't have to involve major upheaval. You don't need to revolutionize your behavior or reinvent yourself. Rather, you can make tiny changes to your behavior, which, when repeated time and time again, will become habits that can lead to big results. Think of it like building a tower with tiny blocks. Each little habit adds up to something big and impressive. So let's get building. Small habits can have a surprisingly powerful impact on your life. To kick things off, I want you to imagine a plane preparing to take off from Los Angeles. The plane's destination is New York City. The pilot enters all the correct information into the plane's computer, and the plane takes off heading in the right direction. Dear follower, but now imagine that, not long after takeoff, the pilot accidentally changes the flight path slightly. He only changes it by 3.5 degrees, which is nearly nothing, just a few feet. The plane's nose shifts slightly to one side, and no one, not the pilot, not the passengers, notices anything. But over the journey across the United States, the impact of this slight change would be considerable. At the end of their journey, the confused passengers, and even more confused pilot, would find themselves landing in Washington, D.C., not New York City. So, why am I telling you this? It's because, just like the confused pilot, we don't notice tiny changes in our lives. Small changes leave a negligible and immediate impact. Going for a 20-minute jog won't make you super fit right away, and eating a whole pizza won't make you gain weight overnight. It's like planting a seed. You won't see the plant grow right away, but with time and patience, it will blossom into something beautiful. But if we repeat these small behaviors day after day, our choices compound into major results. Eat pizza every day, and you will likely have gained considerable weight after a year. Go jogging for 20 minutes every day, and you'll eventually be leaner and fitter, even though you won't notice the change happening. My friend follower, you've probably worked out the main insight here. It's that small habits can have a surprisingly powerful impact on your life, and you won't necessarily see this impact happening in real time. You'll only see the results of your habits after a while. Now, feeling bummed because you're not seeing the results of your hard work right away? Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. It's like trying to grow a garden. You won't see the flowers right away, but you know they're growing. Instead of focusing on the lack of results, focus on the direction you're headed in. Keep planting those seeds and trust that your efforts will pay off in the end. Let's say you have little money in the bank, but you are saving something each month. Your current results might not be that great. Your nest egg is still pretty small. But you can be confident that your trajectory is right. Keep going in this direction and, in a few months or a few years, you will notice a major improvement. When the lack of perceived progress gets you down, remember that you're doing the right things and that you're moving in the right direction. But how do you get yourself on the right trajectory? You need to develop habits. Habits are automated behaviors that we've learned from experience. Have you ever walked into a dark room and instinctively reached for the light switch? That's a habit, a behavior that you've done so many times it's like second nature. Habits like this rule our daily lives, from brushing our teeth to driving our cars. They're like our own personal superpowers, powerful and automatic behaviors that help us navigate the world. But how are they formed? In the 19th century, a psychologist named Edward Thorndike tried to answer this question. First, he placed some cats inside a black box. Then, he timed how long it took them to escape. To start with, each cat behaved exactly as you'd expect when placed inside a box. It desperately looked for a way of escape. It sniffed and pawed at the corners, it clawed at the walls. Eventually, the cat would find a lever that, when pressed, would open a door, enabling it to escape. Thorndike then took the cats that had successfully escaped and repeated the experiment. He placed them back inside the box. And what did he find? After being put in the box a few times, each cat learned the trick. Rather than scrambling around for a minute or more, the cats went straight for the lever. After 20 or 30 attempts, the average cat could escape in just 6 seconds. In other words, the process of getting out of the box had become habitual for the cats. With his experiment, Thorndike had discovered something important: behaviors that give satisfying consequences, in this case, gaining freedom, tend to be repeated until they become automatic. We've learned a lot more about habits in the decades after Thorndike's experiment. My follower friend, we now know that habits are made up of 4 distinct elements. First, there's the cue, or a trigger to act. Walking into a dark room cues you to perform an action that will allow you to see. Then comes a craving for a change in state, in this case, from darkness to light. Then comes a response, or action, flicking the light switch. The final step in the process, and the end goal of every habit, is the reward. In this case, it's the feeling of mild relief and comfort that comes from being able to see your surroundings. Every habit follows the same process. Do you drink coffee every morning? Waking up is your cue, triggering a craving to feel alert. Your response is to drag yourself out of bed and make a cup of joe. Your reward is feeling wide awake and ready to face the world. Dear follower, now that you have an idea of how habits work, let's look at how you can develop good habits that can change your life for the better. Building new habits requires hard-to-miss cues and a plan of action. So, James Clear tells us how habits are formed. Let's briefly recap. A habit consists of 4 things, my friend. 1. A cue, a trigger that gets you to act. 2. A craving, a desire you want to achieve. 3. A response, the action of the habit itself. 4. A reward, the positive feeling you get from completing the habit. Once you know how they work, you can start to hack the habit-forming process to get good, productive habits to stick. Let's say you're desperate to learn the guitar. You've got your instrument, you've picked up the basics, but you struggle to keep up with practice. Each morning, you tell yourself that you'll play later on, but the end of the day soon comes, and you haven't picked up your guitar once. But now that you know the secrets to building a habit, you can use it to your advantage. In this case, you want to make the cue to pick up your guitar impossible to miss. Instead of keeping your instrument in the cupboard or in the corner of your spare room, leave it right in the middle of your living room, in full view. Make your cue visible and unmissable. This will make it easier to turn your desire to practice into a habit. Changing your environment to put your cues front and center will help, but if you want to perfect your triggers even more, you can use what's known as implementation intentions. So what are these? When it comes to setting good habits, most of us tend to be too vague about our intentions. We say, I'm going to eat better, or I'm going to learn guitar. And we simply hope that we'll follow through. An implementation intention can help us move beyond the vague intention. Implementation intentions introduce a clear plan of action. They help you set out when and where you'll carry out the habit you'd like to cultivate. Okay, let's return to our guitar example. Instead of telling yourself that you're going to practice guitar sometime this week, tell yourself, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, when the alarm goes off, the first thing I'll do is pick up my guitar and practice for 1 hour. And don't forget to leave your guitar in the middle of the room. By creating an implementation intention, you'll give yourself both a clear plan and an obvious clue, and it may surprise you how much easier it will be to build a positive habit. My friend follower, let's take a little pause in our exploration here. So you might be wondering, this all sounds quite plausible, but does it really work? Can I actually tweak my environment and make it easy to form positive habits? Sounds good on paper, right? But in practice? To answer the question, let's look at the work of Thorndike, a doctor based in Boston, and in case you're wondering, she isn't related to the cat lover, Edward Thorndike. Dr. Thorndike faced a problem most health professionals face. She wanted to help her patients improve their diets and their snacking habits. But she also knew that making a conscious decision to eat healthier can be hard. It takes a lot of willpower and discipline, and not all of us have endless supplies of willpower and discipline. So, Thorndike and her colleagues designed a test. As part of the experiment, she had the hospital cafeteria rearranged. The soda in the refrigerators next to the cash registers was replaced with bottled water, and baskets of bottled water were placed all around the cafeteria. Dr. Thorndike and the team then watched to see what would happen. And what do you think happened? Well, over 3 months, soda sales fell by 11%, and water sales shot up by over 25%. Simply by creating more queues for people to drink water, Dr. Thorndike and her team were able to get people to make the healthier choice. In other words, they were able to help people build better habits, without forcing them to make a conscious decision to do so. Clear evidence that altering your environment can help you adopt better habits. We have come to the end of the first part of this book. Before I conclude, I would like to stress this point. Remember, my friend follower, it all starts with an idea. If you don't believe you can get rich, you never will. It's like a game of pretend. If you don't imagine it, it won't happen. So, dream big and believe in yourself. That's the first step to achieving your goals. Put the idea and turn it into an overwhelming desire. Turn this desire into a plan and never withdraw at all costs. Finally, if you like the video, you can share it with your family, friends, and everyone who can benefit from this video. Don't forget to smash that like button. It helps us create more awesome motivational videos for you. And remember, if you want to keep getting inspired, hit that subscribe button and join our channel. Share the love and spread the video to help us reach even more people. That's a wrap on today's dose of motivation, my friend.